Well, let's continue our examination of the performance of gCADPlus in the Linux environment. We've been working on this design. I mentioned last time, I think, that there's fairly obviously an informal pathway coming through here, and that you could select individual pavers and then edit them. But I'm interested in seeing how we go trying to make blocks in the Linux environment, and I'd like that pathway to be a little more informal, let's say. So what I've done is dragged in from the gCADPlus details library a file called group of rounded stones, and then I've exploded that and then used some of the elements from this particular block to create a new pathway. And I've taken the color and layer and so on of this here and moved it onto here. But the Dutch word for paving is bestrating, and so I've put this on a new layer as well. So ultimately we're going to get rid of the layer of paving bricks through here and put the new layer in position. I want to make sure that polar is on because I'm going to move that pretty much straight up. So, oops, I've picked one of the vertices in that flexible polyline there. So I'm going to move from this point here and up. But what I may well have by accident is snap on. No, that seems to be okay. So I should be able to I've selected them. I should be able to say move from that position and move it vertically up. So I've positioned now a more informal looking path. I've got the flexible line here on layer 0, and what I want to do now is put some dots along that to indicate that we're implying that someone can walk off what I imagine here is an interesting paved pathway or wooden pathway perhaps, and we can step off this onto these paving bricks and find our way here. It's a polyline, so we could give it some curve fitting, and you can see it changes just a little. Notice that the line type scale is 1 at the moment, but I want it to be a dotted line. So I go to Format and Line Types, and notice here that we have a restricted range of line types. We've got some line types here which don't have a description, but their formatting is across here and so on. There's one called Wipeout Contour. So that implies to us that, you remember we looked at a lot plan, and that the boundary of this side has been taken from that. And I did mention that as you take information from other sources, they can bring all sorts of strange and interesting characteristics with it. But I digress. What we want to do is to add some line types, and the line type file that we encourage you to use is one called gCAD ISO line type. This is an example from Europe, and I want to put some dots on that line. Notice that there are a number of dot patterns. I'll hold the control key down and get dot 1 or dot 2 and dot x2, and notice that the gap between the dots is different in those 3 line types. So we'll OK it, and we've now loaded them. If I change my line type now away from just by layer to dot, and we'll change line type scale. Now this is just a guess. I'll set it to 10, and I'll also set the line weight to a very thick line weight so we can actually see what's happening. And I'll make sure that line weights are displayed by coming down here to the status line and you can see here we do have a dotted line, but the line type length or scale is wrong. So I think we'll come back to 2, hit escape. Whoops, no, we need to go higher, don't we? So what do we have? 10, maybe we go try 20. And that's a little better. So we have a flexible path. It just sort of indicating how a pedestrian might step from that pathway there down onto this new one. We might want to put an arrow head on the end of it. We might want to give it some color, and we could say, let's have that some sort of yellow color. And I'll just say select a color and pick something like this one, which is color 50, and we'll escape. And there we have a yellow pattern running through here. But what I'm going to use this for is, if I copy them now, I want to demonstrate to you that in gCADPlus, I need to grab all of those. Notice I'm using crossing window now, and I didn't get the windows there. I might need to do some minor adjustment to that position, but I digress. I want to copy from here. I want 2 copies. We'll put one there and one down there. And I wanted to show you the effect of changing the line type. Remember this one, if we select it, is a line type pattern called dot. You can easily change a line type pattern by selecting the entity. We'll actually no, we won't. We'll leave that the same. We'll change the pattern from dot to dot 2 and see how we go very, very close together. And then this one, we change from dot to dot xt. So that's the same line type scale, 20, in each of the instances there. So I just want to show you the effect of changing that scale and line weight and color and so on. So I don't need any of those. I can take an inclusive window and erase those. I think what I will do is move this one back from dot to dot xt, and there we have, for mine, quite a nice, we can put a tag on here, put a note just saying informal path. I still haven't done the background garden bed information and so on. There's a lot more to add, but notice that we had a layer called dim that we did last time. We can turn it off, and so things are now cleaning up rather nicely. So with a little note saying path informal pavers, step to access various parts of this garden area. So I hope that's a useful demonstration of how to load new line types in the gCADPlus environment.